Hey, so Blake, dude, thanks so much for joining us on Hard Rock Rewind, man. As mentioned, you're in a band, you're in a Sydney band, Irken Armada. I think Dale, the way that we've got you on, man, Dale is the link in the chain here that met you at Good
The
Things
weakest
Festival.
link.
And I believe you can take over, Dale, for this, but I think from memory, you were doing some video editing or some shooting for the festival there for Destroyer Lines and whatnot.
Yeah. I was in the edit bay, as you want to call it. I was in a bit of a hole. I was deep in it because I had just gotten there.
Yeah.
And just said we'll set you up in this part of the backstage area or whatever. And I was like, all these important names that work in that festival organization just been introduced to, and I was like, this is definitely a highlight of my career. I gotta bring my A game. So I was just focused, but I was like, there's so many other people to me. And Dale was so interested in what I was doing, and I was like, I want to chat to this guy so bad.
Yep.
But I was like, it was a balance, and I think
I'm still got to do work.
It was a balance of, I was like, I don't want to look like I'm slacking off. I wanted to look, but within an hour or 2 hours, I was like, why was I everyone, the whole festival operation, really, when it can, is very chill. At least my ability to converse and stuff was absolutely welcomed. And then Dale and I had to go our separate ways, and then they moved me somewhere else and whatever. But yeah, I was just doing some editing for what they call Good Things TV.
Yeah.
It's with Nath and Johnny.
Yeah.
They also have a YouTube channel. And I was just doing some edits to basically make sure that when they'd left the fest, that whole area of whatever, whether I don't know entirely exactly how it's related to Good Things and Destroyer Lines and them, whatever. But it was mainly just so that while it was happening, there were interviews going on, I'd get the SD cards, the memory cards, shoved into a laptop, and it's cool. Here's what they just said. Can you edit this exact thing? So it was fresh in the moment. There was a couple of pieces that they just posted directly to Instagram right away. But yeah, that was it. Dale, I think you were getting ready to start your day with all the crew was getting ready to talk about what they're doing and whatnot, and then Dale saw me editing and was like, that's sick. And I was like, yo, what's up? And that's it.
Yeah, look, from my standpoint, because we had just got there, and for me to be in there in a media capacity in quotes, was a different, something completely different for me. And usually, I say usually, but the plan is that Troy and I would be doing this stuff together. And obviously Troy couldn't get up. It's just hard logistically for us to kind of get in the same space at the same time. It's only happened once so far in the last 17 or 18 years. So, so I brought my wife along because she was going to do some of the videography stuff, because I was slated to do some interviews with bands. So I think we had Goldfinger and yours truly and Parlay Royale and Newfound Glory. And I think there was maybe one other one as well. And so, yeah, we were super excited to be there, and they kind of, brought us into the same area where you were. And so we're kind of hanging out, and they showed us where we're going to be doing the interviews. And then unfortunately the interviews couldn't go ahead, logistically and proximity to where the artists were versus where the interviews were going to happen. It just wasn't going to work in that heat. And, it was a 15-minute walk to the interview spots and back, right? So it just ended up being something that wasn't going to happen. And we kind of found that out. And then I saw you sitting in this corner. You were just kind of sitting there, kind of plugging away. And so I just kind of looked, I'm like, what's he doing? I'm like, oh, he's using Premiere. It's Premiere you were using, right?
Yeah. I normally don't. I'm not really in that now, but the guy I was working with, he had because he had 3 different editors, one per city. He was in that, and he was so I think that's how we caught each other's attention.
Yeah. So I saw you using it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't personally use Premiere. Traditionally I'd use Final Cut Pro. So I'm like, I'm just curious what you're doing and what capacity you're there in. And look, man, your hair looks cool. I'm like, man, I used to have hair like that when I was younger, and I felt this kinship with the hair. So I'm like, I gotta go talk to this guy and see what's going on. And so obviously we introduced ourselves, and we're chatting for a bit, and then they kind of gave us access to a VIP Friends of Good Things suite that they had. So we we're
That's
kind of
really
chilling there because it was air conditioned, and I went down as much as I could to get some footage and like interact with people and ask some questions and so forth. But
Yeah.
it wasn't until we got back that I thought, man, I wonder what happened to you. I wonder how your day went. I wondered how all that stuff panned out. So I'm like, look, I'm going to try and reach out and find him and just connect, because I think it's important with what we do. And obviously, and I didn't know at the time because you didn't tell me you're in a band. So I'm like, man, we would have had so much more to talk about if you'd kind of said that at the time. But like I think it's important with you being in a band and doing your creative stuff, and Troy and I being creative in this space and what we're trying to do and achieve. I think it's important to make connections with people and just try and just try and be a good dude and help people out as much as we can, right? So in my mind, I'm like, man, if I can connect with Blake and have a chat about what he does and maybe get him on for an interview and just chat about his experience at the festival and all that kind of stuff.
Of course, man.
And then I found out you're in a band. So I'm like, okay, it's taken on a whole other angle.
Cool.
So let's kind of push into that a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
So look, for me, man, you're in a band. Fucking kudos to you in this day and age to be in a band and actually
Thanks, man.
trying to make a go of it, because from an outside lens looking in, Troy and I used to be in bands coming up in the early 2000s.
Sick.
when the scene was blowing up, and we were in Melbourne, and
Destroy
Our Lines were just kind of, I think they were in their infancy really as well. Like, they
For
had,
sure, they would have been. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had Bang and they were running Next down there. So these were two kind of Saturday and Thursday night, venues that they would run. And
I went to, it was the Thursday night one. I think I went to. Next. It was in 2012 was the time I went there.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been late in the piece.
Yeah. We were kicking on in 2006.
Far out. You guys are.
It was right in it.
You guys are the pioneers of this shit.
We are.
Yeah. Normally, I'm the one that's like, back in like 2010. Like some 19-year-old person's like, whoa. And I'm like, there's older people than me that have been doing there was a scene before I was in a scene.
Yeah.
And, it's anyway, bit of a tangent, but like, it's sick that there's lore to this shit now.
Yeah, man, look, like it was absolutely pumping back then. And if you weren't in good with Destroy Our Lines, you basically, you kind of weren't in, like if you couldn't get your foot in the door, you're kind of on the outside looking in a lot. And, we made a real good go of it. And, we did a couple of like really awesome shows and
what was some, if you don't mind, what were some of the band names? I may know of them, maybe. I don't know.
Well, we were
Behind Chris and Eyes. You mean our bands or other bands?
Your bands.
Oh, 20. Oh, sorry. Yeah. We were in 21 Summers, but the bands around the scene were Behind Crimson Eyes, like Getaway Plan.
Mad.
Oh, I don't know. There was a bunch of others.
Great time for post-hardcore
like,
in Australia.
Amity Affliction started around like that time.
House
Parkway
First
Drive
Hurricane as well. We're coming up.
House First Hurricane, Parkway Drive, and look, man.
Yeah, they're all
probably
kind
a
of
bunch of
coming
others
up
that all escaped me.
Yeah. And so
Lane,
so we were in that
started.
space. But Troy's a singer, I'm a guitar player. We're both songwriters.
Mad.
That's what we were doing. And then obviously the band kind of broke up, and we all went our separate ways. And Troy and I reconnected after 17 years of having not speaking with each other. And
that's mad, boys.
Yeah, it's sick. And so we're always still, I don't know, we have this kind of energy to keep doing music and to keep kind of reigniting that thing that we had. And so it's always cool when I see people who are actually in the scene at the moment making a go of it, because it's a completely different scene right now.
For sure. Absolutely, man.
And from what I can gather, it's oversaturated. Like there's so much music out there, like with the advent of streaming and the various platforms you can get your music out on. So I guess my first question before we get into, the history of the band and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What is it that you guys think you can do differently to cut through all the noise and literally carve out a niche for yourselves and be successful with it?
I think, look, I don't, it's definitely not something that we're trying to do. We're not trying to be anything like groundbreaking, I guess. But I think I have an idea of what is maybe is giving a sense of that to people, if people are seeing that. I have had a lot of people say we've had like a really quick rise and things like that, which is cool. Like, that's great. Bottom line is that like this band was born out of some awful band breakups, some really like frustrating experiences for a lot of the people that are involved in this band, and myself specifically from the band I was just in prior. But I think what helps us be like, I guess, a standout sound in Sydney alone, and maybe Australia, is that the Mackenzie, the guitarist, he's 25. I'm about to turn 33, and his influences versus my influences are sort of the same but different. It's weird. Like, so because he's 25, right? You'd think he's listening to like Sleep Token and Bad Omens and all these upcoming. His favorite bands are all the bands that were massive like back 20 years ago, like Converge, Every Time I Die, Norma Jean. When it comes to the music we're doing, he's influenced heavily by that. I'm actually not influenced by any of those bands. I'm influenced by bands that sound like Suicide Silence. I'm even influenced by more modern bands. So there's like this weird dynamic of like, he's younger but into older stuff. I'm older but into more modern stuff.
Yeah.
And so when we came together, he was like the band that I was doing prior to this one starting, it was like the modern metalcore tuned on like 7-string, super low. We were starting to go from just being breakdown heavy to like breakdown with like synthy choruses and stuff. Because like I'm really into modern stuff, and I'm really into like 2005 screamo, like like MySpace era. Because that's what just like you guys, I was just in that period. Yeah. So like
that's how I met my
I've got
wife.
so much of that influence for sure. Oh, there you go. Like it was like that was where like I think music in Australia, for like at least for Australia music, like MySpace was like such a crucial part of fostering the culture.
Massive.
A lot of awful stuff happened, but a lot of really good positive networking happened. So I think it's that combination. Yeah, like so many awful people were around from that. But Macca, like when me and Mackenzie like got together and we're like, we should like just make some music together finally, because we've been best friends for a long time, and like we've got a huge history, even though like he's 25 and I'm 33. We met actually when he was 8. So when we finally got to this conclusion after like a decade and a half, I was like, well, I want to sound like Beartooth. That's the band that I want to do. And he's like, well, I want to sound like Every Time I Die. And he's like, I actually think we can make those two work. And I was like, who cares? Let's just do it anyway. And then we just like because I got him to just like write some stuff for me, because I was just gonna start a new band of my own. And then I was like, oh, maybe like, what am I doing? He's my best mate. Why don't we just? He's not doing a band that he cares that much. No offense, but he didn't care about his band at the time. I was just like I was at this like weird stage where I was like, I'm about to turn 30, and I need to do music. If I don't like put my whole life and soul into music now, in 10 years time, I'm going to be like, you weren't that old. You still could have done it, man. Like, so you just fucking get your head out of your ass and just get amongst it. And so, yeah, that's kind of it. And I think it's just that I'm very much obsessed with this, like 2010s metalcore sound. He's really into like a band in a room vibe, and I'm now in this like state where I've gone from being like the screamo like screaming guy. I'm trying to be a singer as well, and I think we're just very obsessed with music, and I think that's probably another thing that's really, at least for like the Sydney metalcore, like we're very much like, there's nowhere else for us to go in life. This is it. Like, I obviously have my photo like and video creative work for sure, but like I've tried so hard to not make music my life. I've literally fought and like can't tell you how miserable that makes me. Like, I literally have nowhere else to go, and I think I'm at a point with it, and Mackenzie's definitely at a point with it, because his entire life is producing and making music. Where like there's nowhere else for us to go. Like, this is literally all we'll do, and like we'll never not do this. And I think when I realized that, like just before I turned 30, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be, when I hit 40, I'm gonna be like, oh, when I was hitting 30, I was like, man, when I was 21, I thought by the time I'd be 30, I'd be like, this stuff would be a thing of the past. Now that I'm 30, I'm like, I literally couldn't think of any other way of doing my life. And I think just with what we're into, with where we're at in life, I think it's a healthy point, because it's not like we're like, we have to conquer the world and we're going to fucking be the next big thing. It's like, dude, it doesn't matter because we've already had those bands where we've tried to do that stuff and it fails. And the failure is just so heartbreaking that when you come back from it, you're like, I don't really give a shit if it fails. I just have to be going to band practice. I have to be playing and writing music. I just have to be in this. I just want to be doing this, because this is like, I don't know anything else now. And he doesn't either. And the other three guys that like have joined our band have all come from that same journey of like, you try and you do it and you fail, and it's like, it's positive. There's the highs and then all that stuff. So I just think it's that maybe what we have to offer is this, that like, we've been doing it for too long. It's probably the way to look at it, but like, it's like, it doesn't matter if this is fucking like, if no one ever books us again, or if like no one fucking gives a shit. It's like, dude, I just need this so bad. Like, don't know what life would be like. And I know for a fact that the rest of the guys in the band are like that. I hope that answered your question. Sorry to ramble on. I'm just going to close my door because my girlfriend just came home. So give me a sec.
Do it. Yeah, you don't want to hear any of this.
Oh, she was like, can you shut the fuck up? Like, I don't care. I know all this crap.
It's like, why are you talking to two dudes on camera?
Yeah.
Switch it off.
Nah, she's the best.
Well, Dale and I have like a bunch of, how to listen to all your music. Before we go into the band stuff and that, there's obviously so many questions we have. Just take us back just prior to your bands, like just a snapshot of your history. Like, how did you get into singing? How did you get into bands? Like, what was videography first, then music, or like, just give us like a snapshot of like your history going into bands and videography.
For sure. I think the best way to put it is the art stuff came first, 100%. When I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I'd sit in the lounge room with a pencil or a biro, and I'd just be drawing characters like Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, everything, watching cartoons. And then it wasn't until like high school that I got into. I went to a creative arts high school. It was like a public school that was all about like creativity, and that I went there for drawing and art and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be an art guy, a design guy. And I ended up doing that. But music's the thing that like I never as a child ever saw myself doing or being a part of. I got to this high school. So many of these people that were creative people were also just musicians, because there was a big element of music there. And I just got exposed to people that listened to heavy music. Next thing I know, I am music obsessed. It's MySpace era. Like, I'm starting to go to local shows. I'm going to like the big shows like Bull of My Valentine. Next thing I know, I'm going to youth centers. And then I'm just, and then every single freaking weekend, I'm trotting around Sydney, from like Western Sydney out to the northern beaches to the central coast, like 3-4 hours on trains and public transport, just to go to shows, just to pit. Like, it was like, that was my social outlet. And it became the coolest, most exciting thing. There was this element of like fear and shit involved in it. Like, this one time a guy tried to light my hair on fire at a show. Crazy, right? But like, I had every reason to run from this place, but I was like, this is the craziest, coolest shit, and I just want to be a part of it. And then became like the obsession with, I saw Suicide Silence live at the Roundhouse, and I don't know what it was. I just was just like taken back by Mitch Lucker hitting the stage, and he just brought it. And like, I've never seen a heavy live band like it that can bring that same kind of intensity. And it's just like a fire just like lit up. I was just like, if there's any dream that's like almost like impossible to do or thing to do, I'm like, that's the thing. And then like over that summer, I like taught myself to scream. I was like trying to like do like the whisper thing all the time when I was like 14 to like 16. And then I just watched like a YouTube video of this dude and like teaching it in like a car park or something. And it was just like, boom, that was it. And then it took me probably a couple of years of just being like, I'm going to do a band. And like, I remember like school was about to finish up, and like I stuck around for the HSC because I was like, okay, I'm going to leave school after year 12 and I'm going to go do graphic design. That's going to be the job. That's the business stuff. Like that's work, career stuff. But I was like, but I'm also going to like, I'm just going to like try this music shit. I'm going to do this music stuff. And so like, I remember counting down the days, weeks and months and just like every moment until I could go in, put my name on the piece of paper that would let me go to TAFE like the following year if I wanted to and study design. So then I could just get the fuck out and just like go work at Woolies and just go start a band. And I did that. And yeah, next thing I know, I was in this band called Elogist, and we played a lot of shows, and it was like my first experience at recording music and writing proper songs and everything. And that went on for like 4 or 5 years. And we got to tour the whole country. You're in Tassie, right?
Yeah, Hobart.
We went to Tassie twice. Yeah, we went to Tassie twice, which was like crazy. North Lane took us there, and that was like it was really happening. It was going really, really good. But we were so young, and like we all just didn't know how to handle any of it, do any of it. Like there was no business mindset. Like we're all like at each other's throats, like egos flying, like, you know, then it came down to write more music and we're like, fuck, how do we do this again? And just a mess. And so then like from there, that was kind of where I just really then let career take over. And that's where I like went to study private college, like study graphic design, like more formally, like a private college in Sydney. I started another band that was a very casual thing. And then, it just became like career mode. And I then like had design clients all through from music. Like people being like, yo, I need you to do a logo because you're doing the logos and the merch for like your band and the art, and like, can you do it for us? And then next thing I know, I like had like clients like coming back to me, but I just I just couldn't really stick to anything. And turns out I'm like crazy ADHD, and so that checks out. And so eventually I just had like a client was like, do you want to do a music video for me? And I was like, sure, let's do it. And then it like boom, I was like, photo video world just completely just like unlocked itself. And yeah, that was about 2018, and then I just started doing music videos. I didn't own a camera for like the first 12, 18 months of it. I just would like borrow a friend's camera, borrow gear, and then we had pandemic time. And next thing I know, I'm like, fuck, what do we do with our life? I'm like, band I was in, wasn't really like giving it much attention, and that's when I put more work energy back into the whole career thing. And I guess at this point, like I tried to be a freelancer probably like 15 times at this point. Tried, failed, tried, failed, tried, fail. And I think that's probably just because I didn't actually really know what specific part of it I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And and then I think, I don't know about you guys, but like when we were kind of like leaving the pandemic, there was like this huge, I don't know, do you remember this? Like, I don't know if you remember this phase where, like in the world, that like people were just like, everyone was quitting their jobs. Everyone was quitting their jobs because like the world was opening back up. Everyone's like, I'm going on holidays, I'm doing this and all that. Everyone was getting a bit like outrageous. And my outrageous thing at that point was I was like, I spent so much time like building towards a business, and then finally the world had opened back up, and I was like, okay, we need to just go do this business thing. We need to go do this creative thing. Because I had a couple of jobs that I was like weddings I was shooting just at the end of it. And I was like, you have to go do this. You can't be working like your whole life because I was doing like a job that I didn't want to do. And so I wanted to do this like photo video stuff full time, took the dive, and it was the weirdest thing. Like within the same month of like going full time with the business, my entire brain was like, I'd removed like, you know, like in like the corporate world, right? There's politics and there's all these problems, right? I'm sure we can all relate at some point. All that stuff was like out of my way. Like I know all I had to think about was my business and music again. And up until that point, for like the last 4 or 5 years, I'd always put music as like the low hanging fruit, like, you know, naturally, because it's not paying the bills, and you know, so like it's pretty normal to not let it be a priority. And because I was doing the same thing I've been doing for the last decade, just screaming into a mic, and all of a sudden I had these like ideas about like trying to learn how to sing and do singing. Then that just like unlocked a whole new world of like, should try this singing stuff. And I really enjoyed it. And I got some nice compliments from like the person who was recording our band at the time. And I was like, okay, I think I want to do music like properly again. I want to go on tour again. I'm gonna be 30 soon. Let's just give it a crack. So it was really exciting time because I had just went full time with my business, and it was all just happening, and that was it. And then that's kind of been life for the last 3 years. That's it.
Awesome,
just
man. Awesome.
Photo, video stuff, and now I'm just doing everything. I'm like doing web design and all this extra stuff because I'm like, why not? And because, you know, like you when you can get out of your own head and think like, and stop like being in your own way, you can start to just let more things happen. And that's kind of where I'm at with the creative stuff. And that's why it's exciting to like, I guess the way I met you, Dale, is like I was in a position where I was just like, I think the other month, like this last month, has been quite a turning point for my career. It's where I'm like starting to get given some really, really awesome opportunities I'm very grateful for. But I think it's definitely thanks to just getting out of my own way. Yeah. I could talk shit for hours. I'm sorry.
No, dude, so could I. So let's tap into that a little bit more, right? So you're being more creative. You've had some opportunities present themselves. You find yourself at good things. You're in a band that's, you know, I would say moderately successful in Sydney. You know, you're doing well. You're playing the Crowbar. You're kind of selling out some shows. You've got the videos up there. The songs are doing well. The streaming numbers are pretty good, right? And you find yourself at good things, and you're in the company of people who can make things happen, right? But you're not there in a band capacity. You're there in a creative, videography, editing capacity.
There to work.
Right?
And I said that to them. They were like, "Oh, what bands do you want to see?" And I'm like, I appreciate it, but like, I'm here to work because I wanna get hired next year. I don't want to come back with my band. I want to work for you again. Anyway,
as well, but how do you find yourself in that position and not go into business for yourself? Because if I was there, that would be, and we've done it in the past. Like we played. I mean, we were lucky enough to play 2006 Taste of Chaos in Melbourne when that came through.
Sick, right? Taste of Chaos.
Yeah. So
Dude,
we're lucky enough to do that.
Dale did it twice, man.
That's mad.
His band.
That's so
when
sick.
I went overseas, the previous band that we're in, I left to go overseas. Sorry. And Dale's band played 2005 one. So he did it 2 years in a row, man.
Which was it? Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
it's 2005 and 2006. Yeah, so it was the first time Taste of Chaos ever came to Australia was 2005, and you had like, it was Story of the Year, Funeral for a Friend, Rise Against, The Used. Like I think it was that Taste of Chaos, and then the next year was, dude, I don't even remember the bands. The other ones, to be honest. Dude, I was just super pumped to see Story of the Year.
Sure.
Yeah, so for me, I was a massive Story of the Year fan. So 2005, I was just like,
frothing.
I was a stain on the floor.
Yeah,
it was crazy. But like even just me being in that space, it was like we had CDs. I'm like, I'm handing shit out. I'm trying to drum up stuff.
Like as a musician, like push it. Yeah, okay.
Gotcha, man, and get people on board. And if I was, I mean, I know how I am, but if I was in your position recently at Good Things, dude, I would have brought like a box of CDs with me or something. Like, I mean, like I would have been like giving thumb drives out to everyone. Or
no, I totally get it.
Yeah, so how did you not go? So how do you keep it separated and stay professional and not go into business for yourself? And how can you be in and around that and want to come back the following year in a like a videography or editing capacity versus a band capacity?
For sure. Look, I think what made something like that a little easier is like we've been fortunate enough that like some of the people that are probably like that, I think some people would be like, oh, I need to go find that person, and tell them about my band. We've been really fortunate that we've been booked for shows by those people, like in the last 12 months. Like they've, we every band in the country will do it. Like a tour will get announced, you'll send a submission because like that's they're wanting you to submit for these, so they can kind of go, oh, we need bands to open shows. But we've also been like, we'll submit for like 5 things that we want to do, and then we'll get one that we weren't even think we were allowed to do or should be getting or whatever. So I think that definitely helps, like that we have been kind of speaking with some of like the people that have the ability to give my band or our band some opportunities. I think as well, like I've known some of the people that work for Destroyer Lines and some of these bands, like some of these people that have like gone on, their bands are really successful. Like I grew up with some of the people from like Stand Atlantic. I grew up with some of the people from like other bands that were around that day and whatnot. And I think bearing witness to what some of these people have to, like that, the sucking up sort of thing. I think I've witnessed a lot of that, and I see like, and I hear like oh my God, I have to go through this. Like oh, these people just can't just like not talk about themselves, that sort of thing. I hear that, like how dreaded it can be for some people. I'm like, and I think for myself, I'm like, oh, I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to go in there and try push myself too hard, I guess. Because I'm like, I don't want it to reflect badly on the band. I'm like, and I'm also like, there's nothing that I can do today, I guess, as well, at least in my mind, where I'm like, I'm going to convince someone to like fall in love with the band or something like that. And I'm like, I think that's kind of it, I guess. I think I was just going into it, I was just like, there was this element of like, what if I get there and I'm so distracted by the excitement of like what's happening? Like where I was sitting, not that they did it on purpose. It was just like happened to be like, we got put up in this booth where I was editing. I had main stage 1 and 2 in my view, like in front of, like there was this giant glass mirror that overlooked the entire stadium. God knows how I didn't keep my head up all day, like, whoa, what's going on? But I just was so focused on like, I was like, I don't know how hectic the day's going to be. And it was hectic. It was full on. Like I had a lot to edit. I almost felt like I was going to let them down even. But apparently I didn't. So really happy. But yeah, I think there was just like the element of like, this is a big deal. And like, I just need to be focused on what I'm there for. Rather than like trying to make it about myself, because I think the difference is like for someone who's going there as media, like it's a networking opportunity for like a media group. You like, that's what you need to do. And I think as like I was also just like in this mindset, I'm like, oh, like these people, we've got like the biggest bands in the world here today. Like if anyone wants to talk about anyone, they want to talk about Tool. They don't want to talk about like my band from Sydney, like, which is like, and I'm not trying to shit on myself and my band, but I think that's just kind of the mindset I went in. If I was 19, dude, I'd be like, yeah, that's sick. So like, I just started this metalcore band, and like, we're gonna be the next big thing.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, like I think that's it's an age thing too. It's like you kind of, I don't know. I don't know. Just I was just so excited to have the opportunity, and all I could think about was like, fuck, man, what if I just get in there and just don't edit? I'm just like not on point that day, and then like, because you can create the perception that you're fast at editing or whatever, like when no one's in the room with you, but like when like freaking Guar and all these, and like Lorna Shore and all these massive bands are like literally in the same room as you, and like you're editing there, like at that time, and the people that you're working for are there, you're like, you have to be on point. And so I think all of that really took over. I think there was probably, and like this is another thing, is like, I think maybe the fact that like Mackenzie works with Inertia. He's pretty much like their full-time live sound mixing engineer. So he was on the tour and he got up for every show and did like a guest spot. So I guess maybe in my mind, I was like, no, like, you know, like that's plugging our band. Everyone's gonna be like, who the fuck is that guy on that stage? Like, oh, it's a guy from some fucking Sydney metalcore band. So maybe that was it. I don't know, but yeah,
You left all the heavy lifting to him. Yeah,
Dude,
he'll
like,
just get on stage and just promote the band.
and dude, I watched all the videos of like Instagram. I was like, Macca, bro, you fucking were ripping it, bro. And like even the Inertia guys when they came in for their interview, they their whole thing they talked about was almost as like about Macca being like their secret weapon on the stage because like Macca has this insane scream. It's I don't know, it's a whole different conversation, but yeah, I don't know. It's just chilling. I just wanted to just get my hands dirty and work.
Yeah.
Dude, let's go back to the band, man. So, from what I had a listen, debut single Guttermouth came out, I think, off your debut EP, which came out in 24, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Couple of questions on that. So, firstly, and another thing I've noticed when I was looking through Insta and checking you guys out, like pro Insta and very much looked like I guess there's a few questions to stem here, but
no, you're right.
First question is, how long had you been a band before you put out that single? And secondly, on your guitarist, Mackenzie, dude, I noticed that he on the credits that he did the production and whatnot. Production is like mint, man. Like production is top notch.
Thank you, man. He'll be very, you'll love to hear that. That's awesome.
Legit, man, like legit world-class production. Like I listened to it and I was like, that could easily just be a US band or like production was like top notch, dude.
Sick.
So there's how long you been in a band before you guys put that out? And I noticed you've obviously shot a lot of clips for a lot of the songs and it looked like very much in nowadays how you have to do more media stuff rather than doing just gigs and stuff. Was that like a conscious thing when you started the band? Like, hey, we're gonna approach it this way. We're gonna do all the you know, the content stuff first and then put that out and then see where that can land us with the band as far as getting gigs and whatnot.
Yeah. So Macca and I wrote that song mid 2023 and that song came out April. It was like April 2024. So we probably like 6 to 8 months or 9, you know, like we really didn't start the band technically until like I would say September 2024. So probably like 6 months, 6 to 7 months until that first song came out. It was just him and I at the beginning, and then we just were like, we need our best mates in this. Got our best mates together. Obviously, drummer always the hardest one to find. We knew our drummer, and Macca and I actually played with him like a year prior in the band I was just finishing up in. So like we hit up our mate and he came on, and so it was about that. When Irken was kicking off, I think one of the things that I found, I think one of the things I really wanted to have, I know it sounds bad. I wanted to have like, I guess like a bit of control over, but more so like in a sense of like, have like it didn't really matter to me like about like being the person who called the shots from like the marketing, the visual stuff. But I found that in the band I was just finishing up in that there was too many cooks in the kitchen for that stuff. Yeah. And it didn't create cohesion. It created actually too much. Like it was just there was just like, like we'll look like this and and it just really damaged a lot of stuff. So I said to Macca, I was like, I'm pretty married to this stuff because it's like my whole life outside of music. And he was like, yeah, cool, because I don't want to touch any of that shit. I was like, okay, sick. And then the rest of the dudes that joined Irken were like, wait, you mean we don't have to deal with any of that crap? And I was like, well, if you guys don't want to, that would be sick. That would actually work really well. Because I think the way my brain works with that stuff is just, it's like I can come up with ideas and visualize and concept and all that. And I think it's easier for that to be coming from one place. And then I just get them to be like, that doesn't land. That's sick. Could you maybe try this? And then that actually works really well for me. So yeah, when we were kind of launching the band, the music has been the top priority though. Making sure that we like love the songs that we're writing and we're writing songs for ourselves. With making sure that like we're taking the influence but we're also just making sure that we're like stoked on this. Cause I think when you do bands and you do music for so long, it's not until like you've done a few releases where you go, well, these next songs I'm about to release and actually like play whatever, like they were literally going to be such a part of my life. So I better fucking love the songs that I'm doing. So biggest focus was like the music first and foremost. I just come from a band where, I didn't really get, I had the opportunity, but like I wasn't really convinced that like my opinion on the music was really like the band I was in was really looking for it. So a big part of it was like, Mac was like, I really want to make sure you feel like you're able to inject as much as you give your creative input into the music. And it just happened to be that I also had like awesome like ideas and control over like the creative stuff. So look, not necessarily like a plan or anything like that. It was just like we're like, let's write songs we love.
Yeah.
Let's put everything we can into them. And we like, we also just didn't want to just play like 100 million shows and just hate it right away. We've played 100 million shows before. Like, we've played heaps of shows. We just kind of just like, you know what? We'll take a show if it sounds like the sickest, funnest time. We'll do some shows with our idols. We'll play some shows with our mates bands. Let's not play every weekend. Let's just space it out a bit. So like when we for every show that we've done now, at least in Sydney, like there's been enough time between it where we're like stinging for it. We're like, dude, I can't wait to play this show. And as like we get like maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4 fans here and there in Sydney, like the people that like I guess might be coming to each show, we haven't played every weekend for the last 3 months. So it's like there's we've actually like changed the setup and like they've seen heaps of other bands and stuff in the meantime. And so we're not just like, I don't know, you just don't want to like, as you, I think you said, Dale, oversaturate it. Like, it's all oversaturated in so many ways. Like, and I guess we're just trying to just keep it chill and focus on like what we consider to be the most important, which is the music. The visual stuff, as much as we need it, we want it, and it should look good. We're also like because we're going through the process at the moment with this new release, right? Like, and I just kind of like dawned on me. I'm like, man, like this shit isn't important. Like it obviously is, like the music videos but I'm like, at the end of the day, like what stands the test of time and what really creates like a legacy for any form of music is the music. And
totally.
Coming back to that realization, like especially as a creative, it's so important, I think, for me to be that way, because I'm like, I don't have to fucking stress too much about it. I'm just like, because like I generally feel like we've given the songs that we've just wrote and recorded what they like, the attention and all of that's like, the spiritual heebie-jeebie, we've put our souls into them and all that stuff, and like we're happy with the songs. I'm like, so sick. That's like the marketing shit done, and it's like we just need to like, we're just creating some pictures and videos to give people an opportunity to say like, this is who we are as people. We're like emotional people, right? With emotional music. And as long as that matches up, then sick. But if you're Electric Callboy and your music's like fucking pump up the jam, then your videos and shit need to be like pump up the jam. Like, so like, I think as long as it like, it fits the, it like, once again, cohesive. It's like sick, cool, job done. I don't know. I as you said, like it's kind of like a cheat thing that I do photo video stuff and Maca record stuff, but like at the same time doesn't stop anyone else from doing all that stuff. Doesn't stop anyone from learning all those skills on their own. And you know what's sick? So many bands are doing that. Like so many people are doing creative shit in their own like music projects because like you can now. You have the technology, and it's also just fun. Just fun to just have more control on that shit, Yeah. Hope that answers it.
No, totally, man. No, okay. No, it's fine, man. Go for it, Dale.
I think, look, that's a perfect segue into, again, obviously you're doing the graphic arts stuff. You're very visual with what you do. You have that you know, that total visual scope for the band, so, the visuals have to match the music and, they have to be in the same ballpark at least.
Yeah.
So you're doing a lot of the graphic art stuff, the visual stuff, and Mackenzie's doing a lot of the music production stuff. And
Yeah.
with and you mentioned technology. So with the advent of AI, it's blowing up and it's doing its thing.
Insane.
Yeah. So do you see that as being a help or a hindrance? Like, is that something you think you can mess with and engage with and get something from that's going to benefit, well, one, your business, two, your band?
Yeah.
Do you think, what do you think Mackenzie's thoughts are on that as well? And
Yeah.
like, is that something that you potentially see as being super problematic for musicians and artists, or do you think it can really be a blessing and people can use it for good in
Dude,
music
I
and
think the
graphic arts?
answer, I think the answer is yes to all of those. I think I think it is problematic. It will help us. It will hurt us. And it sucks that is my response. I hate that. I've definitely utilized it in so many ways for my business, not really for music, because with music, like especially with creation, like I think the moment that I allow AI to write words for me, I use AI to create melodies and structure and all that. I'm like, dude, it defeats the point of me of creating music, because I'm a strong believer that like music is an art form, and especially if we're writing original music, it should come from you as an individual, not be, I guess, like spin the wheel and see what comes up and just cool, that lands, that's cool, like, because we can do that ourselves. We just have to put ourselves in the position to allow for the right time for, like, to get to your desk and pick up your instrument and write lyrics and whatever it is in any capacity you do, because then that important, like those like gems of music will eventually just come. It's just that, if you could, I don't even know if AI can write songs that are gonna, like, well, we don't know if AI will write songs that will stand the test of time like humans have done. They very well could, and I don't know, but I definitely think it's problematic because it almost defeats the point, like in terms of creating music. In terms of business, like with creative work, I'm not for the generative stuff. Number one, because like 99.9% of it just looks shocking, right? Like it's not good enough yet for it to be. I don't know. Like sometimes there's like some cases where like it looks pretty good, and like but that's a subjective thing, right? I don't think it should be utilized for any of that stuff. I do think where it can be really helpful is that it can be utilized for the mundane stuff, like numbers and planning, and like like the stuff that human beings never actually wanted to do. I think that's where it's so powerful, and it can be really helpful. The problem is that's not always going to be what people are going to pay for. Like right now, okay, I'll tell you. So I have spent probably the last 8 months, every couple of weeks, I will go on a rampage using YouTube, any AI platform, to see if it exists yet, an AI video editor that will take your raw footage, take a song, and create you an edit. There's some platforms that do it, some that don't. You don't really get the ability to change it. And the reason I'm looking for that is I'm like, it's not that that's a problem for me. It's like I can do all of that. It's just that I want to fast track to the point of that process where I can then go, cool. So there's a baseline edit of like these like highlight for like an event I might do, right? And this isn't for music. This is generally for like, I mean, could use it for music, but I'm talking like for clients. Yeah, mate. It's more for like, I'm looking for something that can kind of help me. Like I shoot nightclub recaps a couple of times a month, right? And it's a rinse and repeat process. I want to just be able to fast track the choosing like a bunch of shots, and I want to like then be able to like flicker through and select the right one. So like I don't think that's really because as a creative, like I'm just speeding up my process. I think where it becomes problematic is where things are eliminating people completely. It's like and also it's like at the same time that's eliminating a need for people to become an editor. So it's like I don't know where I don't really know if any of us like have the knowledge to know like where any of us should stand with any of this stuff, because it's like we all want more time back, right? But we're also like we also don't want to like ruin humanity. So it's a double-edged sword. But yeah, I think I just don't like, I just did a whole poster right for us, and I drew the whole thing from scratch. And
I saw that, dude. That actually looks,
Thank you, man.
Like I saw the post. I saw the post about it, and I saw from like sketch to finished product, and that actually looked pretty sick. And I said to Troy, I'm like, dude, like this dude can draw really well as well. So,
Thanks, man.
look, I think honestly, I think we all just become plumbers, and then we're safe. I think that's
AI is it's a flat out Pandora's box, man. No one knows like what's going to happen the next 2 to 3 years. It's like it's really what like it's happening so fast. Like no one is even, we can't even imagine what's going to be happening in 2 to 3 years with it. It's just crazy. Yeah.
I think what scares me is like that period of time where a lot of people that don't even have the privilege and the time to, like I do, to sit around learning about AI, that you know, their entire, like they're not going to understand why they're being made redundant. And then it's not even the redundancies. The thing that I'm just so scared about is that period of time where like mothers and fathers who have worked in that only know how to do white collar jobs just have no, they you know, their only option is to go on welfare. And that's like it's just, and like there are people in this world that they don't deserve that. These people like they've slaved their entire like 20 years, right? Like, you know, in this work culture, and it's like that. And it's not just like a couple of. It's a lot of people. A lot of like. I'm also very much. I'm like, I want to believe that like, oh yeah, because I take photos of people, like I'm safe. I'm also like, dude, I'm probably not. And it's like I don't know. I think that's the only thing where I'm like, it's gonna be, as you said, I think Troy, it's gonna be a crazy couple of years, and I think we just have to just wait and see what happens.
Dude, I'm in the banking sector, and I think.
Are you in like customer facing, like admin numbers? Where are you?
Yeah, so I manage. I manage a branch. So I'm a branch manager of a bank, and so. Yeah, man. Like there's a lot of back end stuff that that happens with the analytics in banking that I think is there are a lot of people's roles are gonna they're gonna find themselves in a very tough spot. Obviously, being customer facing, you always have to. There's always going to be somebody coming in that's needing assistance with something, and not necessarily AI is going to be able to do that because there's no real physical, tangible AI that you can interact with personally, and AI is not going to fix your phone when you can't log into your app. But look, it's definitely like unless you have a physical trade, like you are up for grabs. I think it's going to be it's getting hairy. It's getting hairy.
I think like there's sorry, go for it, Troy.
No, keep going. You're up, Blake. Go for it.
I guess like there's a part of me that wants to. I'm probably super naive, but there's so much of me that's like. I have this like dream, I have this like fairy tale mindset. I'm like, I hope all this is for the good. And I hope that this is pretty, I think this is kind of silly thinking, but also I'm like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to dream. I dream of a day where the people that are pushing for this shit to happen, it happens and it goes in the right direction. It goes in the positive direction. I'm talking like 5-10 years from now. people don't have to be like, we're not in the rat race matrix crap. People are able to like spend time on like bettering humanity and like building relationships and spending time doing things that they love doing. And if we're so obsessed with like trying to make everything automated, it's like, then it would be, how good would it be if we could spend time just trying to just enjoy life, like discover more about our world, just, like adventure more, travel more, whatever it might be, like for the better. I mean, I doubt that's going to happen, but I really would love that to happen. I would love, if you think about like the pandemic, right? Everyone was locked at home. What did everyone do? Everyone got into creative stuff. Like almost most people either just got pissed, drunk, or they like picked up a creative hobby, or like they picked up a thing that they used to do as they were a kid. Like the nostalgia thing came back. And it like, I think about that and I'm like, that was an awful time, but I'm like, it's a bit of an insight to like what could be if we had, like, if we didn't have to, like we didn't have to go earn a living to eat, and like every single person or every single living thing on earth was able to just be able to like have their essential needs and all of that stuff. Like, I just think about how cool would it be? Like, what would actually happen if everyone could dedicate their life to music? Everyone could dedicate their time to making art, creativity, movies, whatever. Like, whatever your thing is. If you're into like, I don't know, like sewing, knitting, how we probably haven't seen the world's best knitter yet, because we haven't facilitated the world's best knitter. And maybe it's controversial to say, but like it's so sick now that we have so many females in heavy music, because so long the male population of heavy music would be like, yeah, like, they're just not good enough to like play heavy music. Like girls can't. It's like, bro, we're like 5, 6, 7 years into like it finally starting to become normalized. Some of the like heaviest vocalists right now are females. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's because the population of that demographic is opened up. So it's just more and more people are becoming the best of it and better at it. And it's like, imagine if we had like, it's I don't know, it goes for anything. It's like, if there isn't enough people to become like plumbers, we've probably never seen like the best way of plumbing yet, because not enough people have dedicated their lives to plumbing. Like, I don't know, there's so much potential, right? But like, I don't know. I'm just kind of, that's my dream. I'd love that. It'd be so sick.
Dude, you keep dreaming, cool. Blake. You keep dreaming, brother.
Yeah. Dude, I'm with you. If I don't have to go to work and I can just sit around and do creative shit,
it'd be so sick. It'd be the
blast off with the AI.
Yes, but like, I don't know if AI is the thing to get us there. I don't know. It could be the worst. It could just go so far down and ruin everything so bad, and then we somehow find our way there. I don't know, but like, if what it is being pushed on us, I hope that's the outcome, because I'm like, what else is the outcome?
I've seen movies. I've seen movies where the outcome is they turn on us and we get fucked.
For sure. I mean, I will say to that, I'm like, you know what? If they're trying to build an intelligent...
And they're all Schwarzenegger movies. So I don't know.
For sure. You know what? When I was a child, I watched Terminator 2, and the shit that like is talked about now, I used to keep me up at night as a kid. I'm like, this is crazy, man. This is wild.
Yeah, it's happening.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
Dude, I want to just pedaling back to the music. I'm curious. You're in a band. You're in the scene at the moment. The music landscape has changed a lot, not just in Australia, but I reckon around the world. And it seems to be, it's a weird term, but like, it feels like the middle class of bands are starting to get wiped out. You're either starting a band at entry level, and you have the availability, because a lot of the numbers, like when we were in a band, as we were saying before, 05, 06, 07, 08, dude, it was hot as, man. People were going to gigs. There was so many underage gigs. There was so many venues and so many gigs to be had. It was wild. Like, and people in their 20s, man, as you were saying, next bang, like it was chockers everywhere. And now, slowly with insurances, cost of living and whatever else, venues are just dying off left and right. And it seems like at the moment that you can get an entry-level gig at some shit pub, blah, blah, blah. But it's very hard to sort of find that next tier. It's either you've got this entry level sort of band level, or you're Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Being on
it
the front
definitely
line,
can
like
feel
you're in a
that, hey.
band. Well, I'm just curious, like
Yeah.
how do you see it? Like, what do you're obviously trying to progress with your band. How do you feel? Like, is that what you see at the moment? Like, you saying like we've kind of, without getting on a big tour or to support, are you sort of maxing out what you can do sort of under your own name, so to speak, as headlining or whatever else? Or how do you see it playing out at the moment?
I think it genuinely comes down to the genre and slash that scene of that genre in this country alone. So I'll give you an example.
Well, let's keep it to like, metalcore, emo, like all this umbrella sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
About,
Even within that. So what I'm saying is that, like, okay, so I don't know if you guys have noticed it yet, but right now in Sydney alone, there is a crazy youth center revival happening. And if anyone in the country hasn't actually like seen much of it online, that's what that scene wants. It doesn't want it to become it doesn't want it because it's the underground, like, if you know type of thing, right? And so the best way to put it is that right now we're actually, like how the hardcore scene is all about being like true to itself and like, strong values. So much of that has actually starting to seep into metalcore, like 2005 metalcore bands. There's a band you got to suss out called Ends in Tragedy from Melbourne. They're like the closest thing to Parkway in the last probably like 5-6 years. But because it's like the 20-year circle round, like Killing with a Smile, that kind of sound, it's becomes really refreshing. And like there are people that are going to all of like their youth center shows, and they're like 21, 18, 19, 17, 21. They're not people that are like they're even like 5 years younger than me. They're people that have like they got into the scene like this year, last year. And I think a lot of that, and like a lot of those bands, there's a lot of bands like that, right, that are popping off, that are doing really good. But at the same time, like, it's weird because that's metalcore, but then like the metalcore bands I play with, the ones that have now singing, that's where there's the disparity. So like you will be like the opening act, and then you've got bands that are like they're huge. So I generally think it comes down to like the community of bands that you play around with and the scene that you play in. Like, and I'm not saying that the scene that I'm in has like a bad community. It's just that like I think a lot of the bands that our band generally will play with, the bands they want to be on the Good Things stage. They want to be on these big stages. They want to be playing with these big bands, and so they do like the goal is to do everything like big from the get go, because to have that perception to be big. And like for us, like we want to play more youth centers. Like we're trying to do that because we put on a show. EP release. It was just like a headline show. We just did a show. It was at a youth center that I used to play like 10 years ago. It was the first show in like at the youth center in like 6 years. We did it last year. Most fun I've had at a show, apart from the one we did this year. Like it was just the best vibe because no one was there to get hammered. Everyone was there for the music. That's what it was about. It was no, like when we play like an 18 plus venue, we play a club, it's like there's just other shit going on. Like I said, people getting messed up, and which is like, like whatever. Like I'm not I'm not saying that's a problem, but it's I think so much of us have forgotten that when we used to go to shows as like in our early 20s, in our teenage years, going to youth centers, that it was literally just about the music and the people around us. Whereas I think a lot of the 18 plus culture has just created like silly drama, and it kills it. So look, I really don't know. I really do think it is just varying from scene to scene in like the type of genre of bands, like because absolutely there are some bands that should be playing at like that middle ground, but there also isn't like there is no agents to book those bands. There isn't like it's almost like it's the whole industry in a way is like non-existent like that. And the only scene that I'm seeing that is like kind of like filling every stage of the way is like the hardcore, like the old, like the hardcore scene and all the throwback metalcore bands. And it's really funny because like when Irken Armada started like last year or the year before or whatever, people were like, wow, you guys sound like you're from 2005. And we're like, yeah, I guess so. And now there are bands that literally sound straight out of 2005. Like there has been an onslaught of like MySpace, deathcore, and metalcore bands.
Right.
Like it's just insane. Like not just in Australia, overseas. Like the latest band that Rise, do you know Rise Records, that American label?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the latest band that they've signed, they're called I Promise the World.
Okay.
They literally sound like all their comments on their YouTube videos are like, watch the video in 240p for the ultimate experience. And it's like they're not even just like they're not even just like putting it out. Everyone's like, wow, it's like a record label, like one of the biggest like metalcore labels was like, this is sick, and we, for whatever reason, they've signed it and they're pushing it, and it's like that's a I think that's a big step where it goes from just being like, you know, like, oh, it's like there's like a throwback sound to like, no, that like that they're a band, like this label's probably put like, I don't know, 20, 30, whatever. They've put money into this band, right? Because they've signed them. They're like, you know, they're giving them advances, whatever. It's like, that's crazy. And yeah, I think that area of like heavy music, that's where I'm not really seeing like a disparity between like the starting bands and the bands that are killing it. There's like a huge tier because you've got bands like Speed playing Coachella. You've got bands like, there's so many like hardcore bands that I've seen, and I'm not even really in that scene, right? That I've seen like, when I say, I'm confusing myself here. So many of those bands I've like done like sold out tours across the country, and like they've been a band for like not even a year, and they're not at that huge level. The other cool thing is that when probably 10 years ago, it was so much harder for most bands to go to like get an opportunity to go overseas. I will say, seeing a lot more bands get the opportunity to go overseas now. I remember when, like, I would say it used to be like, I remember when Northlane went overseas, it was like the biggest deal. Everyone was like, whoa, they're going overseas. Like they're a big dog band. Because like the only bands doing it before that were Parkway, Amity, and I don't even know who else at the time. Maybe like, so now it's like, there are bands that have been out for 24 months that are like, there's this band called Heaven's Gate. Do you know of them? They're from Melbourne.
No, it rings a bell, man.
It's fine. All good. Like I think they've just completed like their 3rd international tour.
Wow.
It's not like they're just jumping over there and blowing all their parents' cash or something. Like, like they're signed to a label. They've got booking agents. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know, like it's a crazy time because of the whole like TikTok thing. It's like, you kind of can't, I don't know, like you can't ignore good music now, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys are seeing that.
Well, I think like, just quickly, like you can now, it's a different game. Like when Dale and I were in the, you know, you had to really tour and prove yourself as a live act and to get better. And there wasn't that sort of, you had MySpace, but like, now you could be literally like, you've got the songs, as you said, you want to work on the songs, but you could put out like reels, whatever else, and get yourself looking pro. And you could rehearse as much as you can. And so you could be almost like, if you're visually looking like you're ready, like these guys look sick, they sound great. You could be like, as you're right, like you could be a band in a year, but if you've all been in bands before and you know your shit and you get it down, you could be promoted to like, you could go like an opening spot on a massive band because there's the ability of that perception to look like, oh, these guys are bigger, even though you've only been around a year. If you've got your stuff down, you can project yourself and to get onto that. Where back then, man, you couldn't do that. Like you had to know people, you had to play like all the time to get. It was just, it's so vastly different. That's now. Like, it's crazy.
Dude, that's like us with this, like interviewing. Like I do some awesome editing and make us look so good and sound really good, and like people don't know we don't know what we're doing.
It's like no, but it's true, man. It's like I think what's sick about right now is that you I don't know, like I'm just gonna. Do you know the band Super Heaven? Do you know of them? No. So like this band was like they were big in their. They're just like they're like a grungy kind of rock band in the emo hardcore scene, right? They were really big in 2010 to 2013. They broke up and they just vanished off the face of the earth. Like 3 years ago, one of their like songs just went bananas viral on TikTok, like ultra viral, like it's getting like put in like gym bro mashups with like a freaking like trap beat, and like that's how shit's going freaking viral. And like there was no one's going on, there wasn't like a marketing plan like these like Sony would do with some artists, I assume, right, to like make it just like someone would have just like put it in a video because they were a fan, and then someone else, some influencer, I could be wrong, and then now they've become a band again because like the attention and like the demand, it was just like unbelievable. And I think that's like I think that is kind of what's happening. However, I have seen this a lot, is that a lot of artists, and it's kind of a sticky situation, is a lot of artists will have that blow up. They'll do really, really well on the internet because they have sculpted like a really good song. And this is more for newer artists, right?
Yeah.
Then they have to go play a show, and it doesn't land because it was a flash in a bottle in the studio. It went super bananas on the internet, and there was just, if you don't have those like the chops, or like the playing all the time up behind you, it's like, because at the end of the day, like the live experience like seals the deal, right? You might discover someone, you might go give them a chance. If they're good live or whatever, or like that, you love the experience of it live, you're a fan for life. But if you go and you watch and you're like, I think that really says a lot for everyone. And there's a lot of that going on, which is really unfortunate because there's a lot of talented people that would build longevity if they had the foresight to know, like, this is blowing up. I shouldn't go on stage until like I can, really make this for some, like, this experience for people. It's like it's like marketing a product. It's like when Apple or whoever like release like a new product and everyone's like, whoa, this looks so good, I really enjoy this or whatever, and then they actually go and experience it and they're like, this sucks. It's like it's like you can't come back from that. And I think that happens a lot. So it's like we're seeing a lot of firsts at the moment, I think, with what you were saying, Troy, like there, but I don't know. I think music as a entire genre, yes, there's no like middle. It just doesn't exist. And I don't really know. I don't really know how it gets fixed. I just hope that it does get fixed in whatever capacity, so that like more people can release music without this like fear and concern and worry about like all the bullshit, and they can just worry about what they do best, and it's just like making tunes and enjoying it and creating an audience and stuff. Because I don't know, when you guys like were starting your band, right? You'd put out a MySpace bulletin, you get like 500 freaking replies. Like there was nothing stopping you. You had the tools and they worked. Whereas like the tools work if you get the $20,000 like ad bill paid, and you get
totally.
You can have the $20,000 ad bill, but if you don't hire the $5,000 marketing person to like run the ad effectively, it's like boom, there's 20 grand down the drain. And so it's like it's more shit's more complex, and I don't know, maybe it probably doesn't have to be.
So Blake, I was just going to say, man, I was just going to touch on the fact that you said within your own vocals, you started screaming and you were kind of focused on that, but then you wanted to get into, I guess, more melodic singing. And so you've kind of introduced that, and you've adapted and learned how to sing more melodically and so forth. So I listened to House of No Tomorrow, and for me, that's, it's got the screaming in there, but it's got this killer kind of first verse into a pre-chorus where it's kind of real melodic, and it's really piggybacking off the rhythm of the guitar. It sounds awesome. Like that's a really,
Thanks,
really
man.
well written verse. The chorus is sick. I love the chorus. And then, like the song kind of goes back into the, like a really long section where there's a lot of screaming and so forth. So you sent me a sampler of the new EP that I think you said is coming out in January of next year.
Yeah, we're going to start putting out some, like, start rolling them out from then. But yeah,
sure.
Pretty much.
What can people expect from that? And does this new EP include, I guess, or is it opened up to more melodic singing from you?
Yeah, so I would say it's still the same vibe of like music. It's heavy with a lot of melodic stuff. We have less songs with singing on it, and I think it's just because we were like, that'll be fun. That'll be heaps fun to just do like, I don't know, just write some songs and like don't force the singing on it. Whereas like I was just like the first time around, I was like, let's sing. I just want to sing on everything. But then yeah, I pitched the idea to Vacker. I was like, what if like after this next EP we just did like a 2-song EP where we just did some heavy shit. And he was like, what if we just did it on this EP? And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do that. So yeah, there's like a couple of songs with no screaming. It's just like just heavy shit. There's like a lot of, I'll be honest, these songs are so hard to play. I'm not talking out my ass. I'm practicing every day at the moment, and we have no shows coming up until like March because these songs are fucking hard. And and same for the guys on guitar. Like they're just like, fuck, what have we done? But we're also like, we didn't try. We weren't like, we need to write the most technical shit. We were just like, what came out. And I think it was because on the first EP, like in in like that last song, like single we did, House of Tomorrow, we were trying to like, we were intentionally trying to like make shit a bit more simple because the band, like at least for the guitar guys, the bands that they were doing just before it were so like, they're like periphery style bands, like very technical shit. So they were like Macca specifically was like itching for something. It was just like a bit more chilled out, like more like bar chords than like notes.
Yeah.
There are so many notes in this next EP on guitar, but then yeah, like vocally, I think just because that first EP was like the first proper EP where I sung on, I think I've just gotten a bit better at singing. And so because I've just gotten a little bit better, it just happened to write some harder shit. Actually like having a bit of an understanding of like what's going on when I'm singing now. So like just kind of just push it. I don't think it's gonna get. I fucking hope it's not more technical than this on the next thing we do, because fuck, this has been a mission to get my voice around. But yeah, they're harder, but they're not harder for the sake of us trying to do it. It's just now that we're on the other side and we're like, it's like all the singing it all came together in the studio fine. It's when you then bring together like I have to like run around stage for 30 minutes, scream and sing, and I've put like a falsetto in here, then going up to like a higher, like long note and all this shit. It's like when you bring it all together, that's when the challenge comes. It's like, when you break each part down in the studio, when you're going like, okay, let's track this chorus and let's try get that in one go. Sick, that's cool. And then you leave the studio and you're like, fuck yeah, nailed it, fucking sick. And then it's when you get to the, like, you've practiced it at home, you're like, okay, yeah, it's pretty good. And then you get into the practice room and you're like, holy shit, there's adrenaline, there's like all this running around. It's harder. So yeah, the songs are fucking emotional as shit. Like they're really sad. The guys lost one of their best friends before this band actually started, and Mitch, the other guitarist, wasn't actually, he also does the other singing with me, like most of the singing with me. He didn't really write much of the first one, so like normally you would think that like someone just passed away would write about that person, but that's a song on this EP, and I guess that is kind of like very different. Is that it was when like we wrote the song, the guy like I was just gonna write my lyrics about everything, and then I just turned around and I was like, hey, I know you guys have thought about writing a song about like, like not that he's just their mate, but like this guy is their friend that they lost, and they were they were their best friend, and I said to them, I was like, I'd love it if you guys were the lead vocal on this one, and I just backed you up. Like me and the other bass player backed you up, swapped the roles, and they were like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Fucking oath," because it's a really like it's a sad song. It's like it's the wild card of the EP, I guess. And so yeah, that's been interesting because it's like there's a whole song where like I'm barely doing anything. There's like none of my vocals on it, and I'm like, it like I fucking love it. It sounds it fucking makes me want to cry when I listen to it because they're it's a bunch of like fully grown men like pouring their heart out about their mate that passed away.
Wow.
The rest of it is just like it's just about overcoming addiction. Like I've had some pretty shocking times with like cannabis in the last couple of years, and I'm all good now. I'm out of the blue, but a lot of that, and just a lot of like, just fucking. It's all about just not being an egotistical prick and trying to be a better person and trying to like just be better to the world around you. That's ultimately like what the EP is about and whatnot. And it kind of feels weird like talking about an EP that's not out yet, but in like I don't even know if you guys even how to listen to any of it. But yeah, like it's just I don't know, it's the same shit, but like I think we're a bit more like how would you put it? It's we're a bit more like not in the pocket. That sounds lame as hell. But like I don't know, we're just kind of like we're all just like really getting along and like but in a good way, and like we're just getting like we're just having fun. We just had we didn't write the first EP together as a band. We wrote that last song we just released as a band. This is the first EP we got to do as like the five of us, and I mean, obviously everyone recorded on the first EP, but like this is the first time we got to do like an EP of like 6 or 5 songs. It's 6 this one. Where we're all like from the start to the end of the process. So yeah, that's kind of it. I think it's hard as fuck.
Oh, man.
Fucking hating life. No, it's you need to challenge yourself with fucking everything you do, right? Like I'm sure you guys find yourselves like it's how you get to be media at good things. You push yourself. You put yourself in positions to make you be out of your comfort zone, and that's just like it's what keeps it exciting. If we were going,
dude, I got confirmation at it was like 20 to 1. It was like 20 to 1 in the morning, so it was like 12:40 a.m. That there were 4 other bands that I had to interview, like in like 8 or 9 hours time, and lucky I just happened to be awake when the email came through, and I'm like,
oh, so you had to get there earlier.
I'm like, dude, I got to prep. Like I had nothing prepared for for these 4 other acts, and my knowledge varied greatly from band to band. I'm like, dude, I got to bone up quickly.
It'd be hard. Yeah,
dude, I was up to like 4 a.m, like writing a bunch of questions out and kind of researching some stuff so I could interview these bands. And you got to put yourself in the right spot and take yourself out of the comfort zone and just get uncomfortable to grow. It's just it's what it's all about, man. And look, I have no doubt. I haven't had a chance to listen to the sampler yet that you sent through because it literally came through not too long before we jumped on here. But
15 minutes.
Look, it's something. No, dude, look, it's something I'm going to listen to because like I'm super keen to see where you guys are headed. I'm super keen to see you guys succeed at what you're doing, and I'm super pumped for you personally that you're able to kind of pull yourself out of some, some very hard spots and kind of get yourself to a place where you seem happy, you seem productive, everything seems to be firing, your band's kind of gelling, you guys are getting along. It sounds like a really good space to be in, to be creative, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, man. So from my end, I'm super excited to see where you guys can go with the band, and I'm super pumped for you guys.
Thanks, man.
Totally, man.
Life's good.
Dude, we want to be mindful of your time, Blake. Just, I guess, to maybe bookend it a little bit. Like, what are the what are any sort of goals or ambitions for the band going forward?
Look, if I had to like pick some kind of a dream or like where I would want to do, I could kind of like when I was young, I'd be like, my goal when I was like 19 was like, want to go on tour with my band. Did that and then went on tour like 5, 6, 7 more times. I think now, like coming back to it, I'm like, I'd love to go do a tour over in somewhere like overseas, like Europe or America, and travel with my mates and like hang out every day and like see different parts of the world. Like if you know, like if I get to do that once, and then like the band, whatever band I'm in, like just calls it a day, I'll be happy. That'll be sick.
Yeah.
So that would be fun. That would be really sick. That's kind of where I would love to go with it. Other than that, I am just going to keep writing and releasing music. I have another band. All music I'm doing on my own though, not with other people necessarily. I have like a deathcore project I'm about to start recording. Like I've written a bunch of shit for that. I'm writing and recording like a bunch of like emo acoustic stuff that I'm gonna put out. So like my goal is just to have. I just want the ability to be able to make music forever, in any capacity. That I think that's a, because some people don't get that. Some people can't like use their bodies and shit, and that sucks. But like that, if I can just keep doing music in some capacity, I'm fucking happy, man. Yeah,
hey man,
that'd be sick. Yeah, just making shit, making some cool shit, making some stuff.
Yeah,
like
totally.
yeah, I don't know. What about you guys? What are your goals? What do you guys want to do?
You go first, man.
Yeah, look, I think for us as a collective, like our goal is to keep doing this and get this to a look. I'm, you know, like I said, I manage a bank. That's a job. It's, you know, I'm very lucky to be in that position where I can get to do that job because it's, you know, the town that I live in, there aren't opportunities like that. And so I'm one of few people in this town. So I'm super lucky there. But you know, like I definitely have line of sight of being able to kind of shift out of that into a space where perhaps Troy and I are doing this in a full-time capacity, right? And so this is
that be?
Yeah, and so this is how we make our living, and you know, we create content, and we get to interview people, and we get to do all the things that I love being creative with. You know, we're thinking about doing. I mean, we haven't announced anything yet, but there is like a merch component to what we're going to do, and there's definitely a music component to what we're looking to do, and so we're trying to explore other avenues, and if we can, every goal we've set for ourselves so far, we've achieved, right? So there's no reason that we can't achieve these other things, and so I think looking forward for us and for me, that's I'm kind of putting all of my eggs into this basket.
Sick.
And and trying to work towards that and make that happen and make that something that's beneficial for me and Troy and our families. And yeah, man, like that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm hoping to do over the next couple of years, is actually make a real go at this.
It's so possible. We've seen so many media groups in all, because there's so many formats of it, just do so bloody well, and like it becomes more than just their life; it's their entire world. And I hope it happens for you guys. Would you say the same, Troy? It's like that's the goal, baby. See what you want to go.
Oh no, absolutely, dude. Yeah, like I think like the stages we're in, both, we've both got a few kids each, and so yeah, man. I think because Dale and I, we've got a huge passion for music. We met when we studied music. We both love 80s metal. That was like the thing that connected us. And then went into, obviously, started band, got into that whole, emo scene and whatnot. So yeah, man, like to be able to do this full time would be amazing. And as Dale said, we're sort of hinting at going back and trying to, now that we've sort of, rekindled the friendship, to go back and start writing some music to creatively just to put out. But yeah, definitely this, man. Absolutely. I think like it can be done. And that's, to do it full time, man, would be a dream. Yeah. But, no matter how long it takes, man, we'll just keep working at it, and we'll see where it goes,
But that's it, man. Like if if this is the thing that's meant to, like if this is the thing that you wholeheartedly love doing, like, and it goes for anyone in anything, you will just keep doing it. You won't have to force it. It will just keep coming. There might be times where you go like, oh, I really don't have it in me, but that's probably because you just fucking burnt out. But you'll just keep coming back to it. And as you said, like, as long as you just love it, it'll just it's just something you do, and if you can fucking foster it enough, like give it like it's water and plant the seeds every couple of days or whatever it needs to be. It's like, see what happens. It might just fucking pop off before you know it. Like, and it's the momentum, right? Like, I don't know, like, I'm sure you guys weren't thinking you'd be doing good things, you know, like at one point, and now you've done, like, that's so sick. Like, that's epic, man. Like, I'm sure there's so many people that want to do that. And yeah, like, it's, yeah, the sky's the limit with any of this stuff. And yeah.
You know what's
No,
funny
it's
about
pretty-
that is
it-
that, it's that, like, sorry, man, like that
No.
wasn't on my radar at all.
Mad.
But that was one of Troy's goals. He's like, hey man, like, it'd be cool to, like, really cool to do the festival things. And I was like, yeah, like when he said that, I was like, oh, logistically, you know, like, but yeah, like I you know, I was coming around to the idea.
Yeah.
And then that opportunity presented itself, and then Troy wasn't able to be part of it. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, fucking hell, dude. Like, you know, this is literally a goal that you had kind of set for us. And I was just like a tag along for that goal, really, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I end up being there. And I was like, man, I was kind of bummed that, you know, that like Troy wasn't able to be part of that. You know, I think the week earlier or 2 weeks prior to that, like, you know, we both found ourselves in Melbourne. We went and saw Sebastian Bach.
Oh yeah.
And
what's the Motley Crue?
Skid Row.
Sorry,
Skid Row.
right.
Yeah. And yeah, so we did that, and we caught up and we did a video about that. We did all that kind of stuff, and that was really, really cool. And then I'm like, man, it would have been so good to have done good things together as well.
Yeah, totally. Vibes would have been high. Did you do the whole tour there, or was it just Sydney?
No, just Sydney.
Just Sydney. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No, that's awesome, man. Blake, dude, thank you. It's been a pleasure to meet you, man, and thank you so much for jumping on to have an interview with us, man. We we'll definitely be ears to the ground for your band, dude, and looking forward to your. So tell us, new EP, when does it come out again? Sorry, for next year.
We're gonna start dropping songs from January. That's the
Awesome,
plan.
man.
Yeah, and we'll just see where the year takes us. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
Awesome,
amazing.
dude.
Amazing.
Man, that's sweet.
Pleasure.
No, pleasure, dude. 100%, man.